Spiritual awakening. Have you experienced a spiritual awakening? I definitely have, and I haven't really talked about this on this channel before, but this was one of the biggest events probably in my whole entire life. So today I thought I would do a video for you in case you're in the same boat that I used to be in. And today we are talking about 8 symptoms of a spiritual awakening. So if that sounds like you, then be sure to keep watching. What's up guys? My name is Jen. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you don't know me, I am a spiritual business and life coach, and I put out 2 new videos every week on my YouTube channel. I am here to help you raise up your vibration, and I do that through a combination between mindset and manifestation, because like I've been saying lately, why should you struggle when you can sparkle instead? So if you're ready to sparkle along with me, then go ahead and hit that subscribe button. I would love to have you along as part of the journey. So as I said at the top of the video, today we are talking all about spiritual awakenings, and you will know if you are having one. You will know if you have had one. The only people that maybe don't know are the people who are just starting out in their experience. So before I dive into the symptoms, let's talk about what a spiritual awakening is briefly. And really what a spiritual awakening is an awakening, an unveiling of the spiritual wisdom and knowledge that I believe is already in you, that I believe is intrinsically there. Speaking from personal experience, when I began to study spirituality and all of this kind of stuff, including the law of attraction, it didn't feel like I was necessarily learning more stuff. It felt more and more like I was coming home. And I think that that is a really common factor for so many of us. So if this is you right now, if you're feeling like you're undergoing a spiritual awakening, the first thing I'd like to say is welcome to the club. You are not going crazy. This is something many of us have experienced, and it is a wonderful thing in the end, even if at first it makes you feel a little bit off kilter. So the second thing I wanted to bring up before we dive into the symptoms of the spiritual awakening is that maybe you are like me, and maybe you are experiencing your spiritual awakening after a dark night of the soul kind of event. So this is a really common experience, and I have talked about this on the channel before, but the way that I came really back into this fold of spirituality, law of attraction, all of this stuff, was because my life kind of spectacularly blew up. And not only did it leave me wondering who I was, but it left me wondering about the world in general. So just to quickly recap the story, if you've never heard my story before, I feel like I talk about it all the time, but a few years ago now, I used to be married. I was in this relationship for quite a few years, and it ended very abruptly. So at the end of the marriage, not only did I get dumped spectacularly, but I was also like, couldn't live in my beautiful loft apartment anymore. I also had a business with my ex, so my business was gone. So basically I went from being married, having this beautiful home, having a career, into living in my parents' basement and having nothing. So that really reset everything for me, and I really had to come back from that and figure out everything about who I was from that point. So that was my dark night of the soul moment, and ultimately it brought me so much knowledge, and it brought me to become the person that I am today. So if you're in an experience like that, I just want to tell you that you are not alone. And I know that when you're in the middle of the pain and you're in the middle of the chaos, when someone tells you that there is a silver lining, you probably just want to punch that person. So I get it if you're not ready to hear this information yet, but honestly, these experiences usually break us free from everything we knew, and that frees us to become the person that we were ultimately meant to be. So keep that in mind if you are feeling a little bit lost, a little bit unsure, a little bit wondering why this is happening to you. It is all going to turn out for the best in the end. Trust me, I have been down a very long road, but the person that I am today makes me so proud, and the same will soon apply to you. Okay, with that all being said, let's now dive into the content of the video today. And today I wanted to share with you the 8 symptoms of a spiritual awakening. So without any further ado, let's dive into symptom number 1. And symptom number 1 is simply a change in behavior. And so if you are wondering about yourself, if you're wondering about the universe, if you're wondering how you fit into this bigger picture, you probably are going to want to spend a little bit of time indulging in looking for answers. You are probably going to want to spend a little bit of time sitting with yourself and being quiet and reflecting. And that probably means you are probably going to leave behind some of the things that you used to do. So maybe you're not hanging out with your friends the way you used to. Maybe you are even cutting ties with some people. Maybe you are not doing the same hobbies that you used to. Maybe you are changing what you are gravitating towards. And I just want to tell you that that is completely and totally normal. When I first began on my spiritual journey, I was like a little sponge for information. I just wanted to read so many books. I wanted to watch so many videos. I just wanted to cram it all in my head. And sometimes that still applies, to be honest. But the point is that I, created this sort of new hobby for myself that didn't exist before. And that made me feel a little bit weird and strange at first, but before long, that just became part of my new normal. So whatever's happening for you right now, it is okay. It is okay to say goodbye to some things in your past. It is okay to maybe outgrow some relationships. And it is definitely okay to give yourself permission to seek the answers you are looking for. So if this is where you're at right now, I just want you to know that that is a perfectly normal sign of a spiritual awakening. Symptom number 2 of a spiritual awakening is the desire to slow down. And so again, this might go hand in hand with the desire that you may have been experiencing to learn more or to lean inwards more and to discover more of yourself. So our society moves so fast and we are all pretty much overmanaged and overbooked, and we are really not given a lot of space to be human beings. We are a whole lot of human doings. But when you're undergoing a spiritual renaissance, when you are learning to discover yourself again, you really need to take some quiet time for yourself. And that might take the form of reading books, watching videos, or just chilling and thinking your thoughts and reevaluating the world around you. All of those things are totally okay. So if your pace is suddenly slowing down, if you're suddenly having more of a need for me time, that is completely and 100% safe and okay, and it is definitely a sign of a spiritual awakening. Spiritual awakening sign number 3 is a bigger investment in your own emotional well-being. So while self-care may be something that you talked about in the past, when you really become a spiritual person, you really begin to put yourself as number 1, or at least more than you used to. So becoming a spiritual person means understanding your spiritual nature. And that means giving yourself a place to be you. So again, we live in a very fast-paced society, and we live in a society that is constantly telling us we should lose weight, buy this outfit, dress like this, do that. We are told what to do so much day in and day out, and that stuff can be so exhausting. So when you start to realize your power as a divine creature on planet Earth, then it becomes a little bit easier to tune out all that noise. You'll begin to see just how futile it is to chase these ideals that aren't even really that important to you. You will understand the importance of reflecting, of meditating, of slowing down again, of becoming a human being again instead of a human doing. So emotional well-being is super important for us spiritual types, and if you are experiencing a spiritual awakening, you may find yourself experiencing more of a push to take care of yourself, and that is completely fine. The symptom of a spiritual awakening number 4 is a shift in identity. So basically, all of these things that I'm talking about can really add up to this, but the way you think of yourself is so important. So maybe in the past you didn't really think about who you were in the grander scheme of things, and that might have led to you accepting things in your life that maybe really aren't reflective of your values and of who you think you are. So when you begin to question the world, and when you begin to question your place in the world, you may come to understand the truth of the matter. And the truth of the matter is that you are so much more than your words, than your qualifications, than your schooling, than where you grew up, than what your job is. You are this amazing spiritual essence in there. And when you start to really understand that, you can start to forgive yourself and let go of the things that really aren't serving you. So learning to think of yourself differently, learning to hold yourself in a higher regard, learning to show up in the world in a different way. This is all how we can shift our identity, and how shifting our identity is just part of the spiritual journey. So if you are thinking of yourself in a completely brand new way, an improved way, then welcome to the club. This is very much part of your spiritual awakening. Spiritual awakening symptom number 5 is a deepening curiosity about the world around you. So again, as you've picked up from watching this video so far, you know that right now you are probably thinking a lot about yourself and about the world around you. And the more curiosity we can develop about the world around us, the more that we begin to notice. So the universe works through synchronicities and symbols, and it takes us opening our eyes in order to start noticing this kind of cosmic communication. When you don't have a curiosity, when you are closed-minded to more information, when you're closed-minded to spiritual ideas, then of course you're going to miss all of the information that is being given to you all the time. But when you become more spiritual, when you start to wake up spiritually, you start to become more curious about the things you see in the world. And that might lead you to asking questions like, what does 1111 mean? Or why do I keep seeing rainbows or butterflies everywhere? So these synchronicities, these repeating numbers, these symbols, I mean, I could do a whole other video on that stuff in general, but this is part of universal communication. And in the past, maybe you never noticed this before, and maybe now it seems like it's grabbing your attention, but really that's you and your curiosity, and that really is just a sign that you are open to this new experience. So if you have a deep curiosity for the things that are occurring around you in your life and for the people in your world, then again, that is a beautiful sign that you are waking up spiritually. Spiritual awakening sign number 6 is taking a deeper responsibility for ourselves. So this one goes with the mindset work that you know that I am so incredibly fond of. But really, taking a personal responsibility for yourself is the very first step in you consciously creating your life. And I know that this is a big, scary step to take because we have not been taught how to take personal responsibility for ourselves. Instead, the world that we grew up in is all about pointing the blame, pointing at other people, blaming them for how we feel or what our life is like. We are a society of victims. And if you just turn on a reality TV show for a moment, that will show you complete evidence of it. I was watching Real Housewives the other day, and it's just crazy. These women are like, well, I wouldn't have done this if you hadn't said that. And they're all trying to control each other and pointing the fingers and not taking responsibility for themselves. So Real Housewives, you might need this part. But the first thing we need to do in order to create a life of our own making is take responsibility for ourselves, for our feelings, for our actions. So taking responsibility is part of the spiritual journey because you cannot blame other people for who you are or how you feel. That is completely not a spiritual way to live your life. I mean, of course, there are other factors that influence us, but every single person on the planet has these factors, and we are still ultimately responsible for ourselves. We are responsible for what we choose to concentrate our life towards. We are responsible for the words we choose. We are responsible for our actions in so many ways. So personal responsibility is terrifying, and that's why most people don't go that far. But it is such an important part of the spiritual journey because you, of course, are here for you in the end. That doesn't mean you don't care about other people, but that means that you are here to live your best life, and you cannot live your best life if you're pointing the finger and making other people more important than you by staying in victim mode. So that is a very important part of a spiritual awakening. So if you are taking more responsibility for yourself, for your life, for your feelings, then you are definitely on the road to a spiritual awakening. Spiritual awakening sign number 7 is a deep acceptance of yourself. So this kind of goes along with the well-being one, but we really need to learn how to hold ourselves in high regard. So I always put this in my Instagram posts, and I like to tell this to people when I meet them in person as well, but I like to remind people that you are a divine creature. It is a miracle that you are here on planet Earth. You are a child of love and light, and that means you are important, okay? You are important. There is not a single other person on this planet of billions of people that is exactly like you. Does that mean that you are more important than other people? No, that means that you are your own special, unique recipe of likes, of skills, of circumstances, of style. And that is a beautiful thing. You are not here to live life to make your parents happy and make yourself miserable. You are not here to live life to make your husband or your kids happy and make yourself miserable. You are here to make yourself happy. That doesn't mean making yourself happy to the exclusion of everyone else, but you were brought here for your purpose. You were not brought here just to feel bad about yourself all the time. You were brought here to live your own unique life path and do the things that you desire. And when you stop listening to your desires, you get off your pathway because you've lost contact with yourself. So it is super important for you to remember this as you begin to wake up on your spiritual journey. So becoming more accepting of yourself, more loving of yourself, and more understanding of your power on this planet is definitely a part of a spiritual awakening. And welcome again to this beautiful club. I'm so glad that you are here. Symptom number 8, and the final symptom I'm going to talk about today for signs of a spiritual awakening, is a sense of oneness with the world. So I just talked about the importance of self-acceptance and of realizing your very important part to play in this universal cosmic play that we are all participating in. So now you might be wondering, what does this sense of oneness come from? And the ultimate truth of that is, and this is something that comes from so many spiritual texts, is the basic idea that we are all one. And more than that, we are all God. There is a little bit of the divine in every single one of us. When you start to tap into your spirituality, when you start to understand the nature of the world, the nature of the universe, you start to see this playing out over and over and over again. So when you meet a stranger on the street, they're not really a stranger. They are part of you that is separate right now. We're playing this game, but you know exactly how that person feels if you really think about it. You know exactly how everybody else feels when you think about it, because we are actually all connected. We pretend to not understand each other. We pretend to be afraid. We pretend to put up these barriers, but really we are all the same thing. And the more I went on my own spiritual quest, the more that I could see this, and the more that I began to realize that relationships in my world are really tests and mirrors. They're not about other people necessarily. I mean, of course, there are other people involved, but these are other pieces of us playing an important role to help us grow as a consciousness. We are all growing as consciousness. We are all playing roles in someone else's life. And the more you realize that we are all one, the more connected you feel, the more in reverence you feel of everybody you meet, and the less likely you're going to be to get stressed out over things like, I don't know, road rage or something like that. But this feeling of oneness is so powerful. And honestly, I believe that if everyone could feel this way, if everyone could tap into this emotion, the world would be so much happier. And there would be, you know, things that I think borders are ridiculous and countries are ridiculous. The whole thing of humans like trying to create lines and create divisions and create you are this, I am that. It all seems so ridiculous to me. And I believe that when spiritual people become more this way, and I'm not saying that to say that I'm the most enlightened person on the world, but the more that I learn about spirituality, the more these little human games we play seem completely ridiculous. And I know I'm not the only one that thinks that way. So if you're feeling this sense of oneness, again, welcome to the club. That is definitely a sign of a spiritual awakening. So what did you guys think? Which one of these symptoms did you resonate with the most? I would love to hear your comments below. So drop me a comment below. Let me know which one you resonate with the most. Which one are you feeling the most at the moment? Or maybe which one are you not really sure about and want some more clarification on? Because I can talk more about that if you want as well. But either way, I hope you guys enjoyed this video today. I hope you guys learned something. I really enjoyed putting this together for you. Thank you guys so much for being here today. If you like this, please do me a favor and give it a like. If you want to learn more about me, come on over to my website. I have a brand new free class for you to take called How to Feel Better. I would love to see you in the class, and I'm going to give you some mindset tips on how you can start feeling better starting today. It's really good stuff, so come on over and check that out if you're interested. If you know a friend that could use this message, please pass this along to them. I would love your help in growing my beautiful little YouTube community here. And if you want to watch more from me, go ahead and click my latest upload right here. And if you want to hang out for the long haul, hit subscribe right here. Other than that, I'll be back in the next one. So until then, I'm wishing you an amazing, magical, spiritual week. And as always, just remember, get ready for the miracle. See you guys.